Hello, witches. I am High Priestess Autumn Phoenix. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to hop on this live broadcast. This broadcast is titled, Be Careful What You Wish For. Not wish. Be careful what you wish for. There is a big difference between wishing and witchcraft. There is a big difference between wishes and witchcraft. Witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real, significant, and permanently positive change in the witch's life and the lives of those who come to the witch seeking real, significant, and permanently positive change. Wishes are aspirations that you make when you blow out the candles on your birthday cake. Wishes is you making a wish, making a hope. I hope this or that happens, and then sitting at home doing nothing. Witchcraft, on the other hand, you have to do something. With witchcraft, you have to do what we all know, real world action. Witchcraft will not work for nobody. No high priest, no high priestess, no witch, no experienced witch, if you do not do real world action. If you want witchcraft to work for you, you have to do real world action. And I will preach that until I am blue in the face. You have to do real world action, but you also have to be careful for what you, the title of this broadcast, wish for. You have to be careful for the type of spell, ritual, hex, or curse that you do. We know that as witches, when you become a witch, you are taking on personal responsibility and personal accountability. Personal responsibility, personal accountability. Responsibility and accountability. But you have to be careful what you wish for. You have to think long and hard before you cast that spell, ritual, hex, or curse, because you might just get it. When you write your own spells, instead of getting it from a book or on the internet, you are writing down in that spell that you have written with your own hands, with your own pen or pencil or crayon or marker or whatever you chose to use, putting your own energy into it. So you have to get into the details of that spell. What do you want that spell to do? What are you expecting, not hoping for, not wishing for that spell to perform? That's why lots of spells fail, because witches don't get into the details of what they want that spell to do. You have to get into the details. Don't be writing spells such as I hope, I wish, I desire. You write your spell as though it has already worked. So you write something such as I have a beautiful car in my driveway. I live in a safe neighborhood. I am married with kids. I have the house with the white picket fence. You write your spells as though it has already materialized, as though it has already come to fruition, as though it is your current reality. That's how you write a spell. That's how you write your own spells. And I strongly encourage you to write your own spells, because then you are getting into the details of what you want that spell to do. You don't need hope. You don't need to make wishes. Get into the details and write down on that sheet of paper or parchment paper or napkin or notebook or notepad or that tablet or that phone or that laptop or that desktop. Get into the details of whatever you are writing in, and write it as though it has already happened. But you have to be careful because you might just get it. I know that sounds so cliche. I know you've heard that before. Be careful what you wish for because you might just get it. Forget about that old wives' tale. We're talking about witchcraft. Be careful what you wish for. Witches have creative power in their tongue. We know as witches, our words create or destroy our reality, create or destroy our lives. Be very, very careful how you write that spell because you might just get it. So let's say, for example, I guess a good example, kind of a good example. Let's say you're doing a spell to find a husband. Just for argument's sake, let's say a husband. And you write out exactly how you want that man to be. And it is exactly what you get. So you might have left out, he's not in prison. He's not a felon. He's not an abuser. He's not a wife beater. Yeah, make sure you include that. If you want a perfect husband, write that in the spell. My husband is perfect. But he may be too perfect for you. What? He may be too loving to you. He may be too respectful to you. He may be too polite to you. How is this even possible? How can a man be too polite, too respectful? Because you did not exclude that from your spell. You did not write in your spell that you want your husband to be a little bit polite or a little bit respectful. You said respectful. You said polite. And that's exactly what you got. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. I would go as far as to say you will get it, because witches have creative power in their tongue, in their words, in the way they talk. When you write a spell, you write that spell as though it has already come to fruition. You write that spell as though it has already worked, that it is currently your real life. And remember, it will be real, it will be significant, and it will be permanent. That means you can't go back. That means you don't want to go back, because that spell worked exactly as you intended it to do. It's worked. That spell that you wrote worked exactly as you intended to. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting your spells from books or getting your spells from a high priestess or high priest or getting it online. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you write your own spells, you know exactly how you want that spell to perform. If you get your spells from a book or online or from someone else, it may not turn out the way that you hoped. And witches do not operate with hope or wishes. Witches just do the thing. So for you to find a husband or spouse, or even, I guess a booty call, you actually have to leave the house to find those people. Mr. Right, Mrs. Right is not going to break into your house. That's not going to happen. That's stupid. You have to be careful for what you wish for. Wish for. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. Every single time a witch is about to perform a spell, they think long and hard about what they are about to perform, because it takes a lot of energy to summon a spouse. I'm talking about marriage. I'm talking about matrimony. I'm talking about marriage licenses. I'm talking about the real thing. The real thing. The real thing. And a lot of witches get tripped up by that. I have to actually leave my house to find a husband or to find a wife. Yes, you don't have an arranged marriage. You don't. You don't. You don't. You actually have to leave the house if you want your spells to work, because I get this question a lot. How do I make my spells work? You actually have to do real world action. And Hecate, the queen of witches, will add her strength to your efforts. Every single time you do a spell, you are not doing it alone or by yourself. You are always working with something of the supernatural. You are always working with something of the divine. It's never just you. Even if you just solely focus on your intuition, that is still the divine. That is still the divine. The divine can be female or male. Okay, let me just say that, okay? Let me just say that. The divine can be either male or female. It's not just females, because we know that men can also be witches. Yes, men, for those of you who don't know this, yeah, men can also be witches. It's not just women. Witchcraft is gender neutral. It's open to both sexes, not just one. I know some witches don't like that. I know lots of witches who get mad at me for saying that men can be witches, but it's true. It's true. Men can be witches. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. You have to think long and hard before casting that spell, because it's not impossible to reverse a spell, but it will probably be the hardest thing you have ever done as a witch. Reversing a spell, that's hard. It's hard to reverse a spell, because you have to call back that energy that you sent out. And what if that energy is spread so wide that you can't get it back at all, or you can only get a fraction of it back? The worst scenario is you can't get any of that energy back. It's just gone. It's gone. So reversing spells are nearly impossible, but not completely impossible to pull off, but they are hard. They're hard. That's why I tell witches to sleep on it the night before. Sleep long hours on it the night before. Go to bed a little bit earlier before the day that you're going to do a spell, so that you can decide when you are well rested if you should go ahead and do that spell. That's what I tell witches. I tell witches to sleep on it. Don't ever do a spell on a whim. Do not ever do a spell on a whim. Never do that. You are setting yourself up to have egg on your face. Do not do that. I tell witches to sleep on it before they do a spell. I mean, sleep a full 8 or 10 hours. That's how powerful witchcraft is, okay? Before they do that spell the next day. Because when you are well rested, you can think rationally. You can think clearly. You can use that brain of yours and that big head of yours to make the right decision if you should go ahead and do that spell. That's what I tell witches. Sleep on it first. And many witches who ignore that advice have had many problems with that spell, ritual, hex, or curse. Sleep on it. We are doing witchcraft. Witchcraft. We are not making wishes on a birthday cake. There is a big difference between wishes and witchcraft. Major difference. I just explained it at the beginning of this live broadcast, or if you are watching a replay of this broadcast. So just to put that out there so there is no more confusion between the two. When you make a wish, that's all it is, a wish. When you do witchcraft, sometimes I pronounce witchcraft as though it's 2 words. Witchcraft is 1 word. Okay. When you do witchcraft, you are putting real world action into it. That's the big difference between wishes and witchcraft. I know that's a word right there for somebody that really needs to hear that, all right? Just think. Just think. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. And remember what I just said a couple of moments ago. It's hard to reverse a spell. Not impossible, but it's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. Because you have to go back to, you basically are doing the spell in reverse. You're trying to call back the energy that you sent out. And like I said, it can either come back to you or not at all. Or that's basically it. You can either call back the energy or not. The energy is not going to come back to you a little bit. It's not. It's not. Be careful what you wish for. So that's what the broadcast was about tonight. Just thinking again, thinking some more, and then making a educated decision on whether or not to perform that spell. And I will, of course, leave this up for the replay. I will add this to my stories. I also will post this on my other social media platforms, on X, Facebook, and YouTube. And be sure to share this broadcast on your other social media platforms and in your own stories, and tell a witch or 2 or 3 that there is a high priestess here in New York who is anointed and appointed by the Queen of Witches, Hecate, to be a voice for those witches who have ears to hear and hands to receive Hecate's best. I will speak to you witches next time. Bye, everyone.